Okay. Hello, Kavitha. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm also
I'm good.
good. We are very much thrilled to invite you on this topic about blockchain and cryptocurrency. Since
Okay.
we at Your Engineer, let me introduce myself first. I'm Sandeep Tripathi and co-founder and CEO of Your Engineer. We are building a one-stop platform for all over the engineering ecosystem.
That's
Maybe it's
fantastic.
students, professionals, recruiters, everyone will be in a single platform, so that
Mhm.
access of everything, collaboration with everyone will be quite much easier, you know?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
since social media has been boomed since last 18 years, so there
Mm-hmm.
must be something to do about in the niche platform, like engineering is a
Mm-hmm.
niche platform where
Mm-hmm.
and in the perspective of other social medias like LinkedIn, like Facebook, they are not very much niche to one particular sector. So we are
Mm-hmm.
building a one particular sector and keeping all to it. So this
Yeah.
event, TechnoVax, we have started on 28th, and we have invited you for today for speaking on the topic of blockchain. And it's a new thing in India, although from
Mm-hmm.
business point of view, it has been uh, from very beginning. Whenever
Right.
the crypto started, whenever this thing Binance versus FTX issue or whatever issue was there. So
Mm-hmm.
from business point of view, it was always here, and taxation
Right.
were discussed, everything was discussed. But
Yes.
from the development point of view, from the learning point of view, blockchain is not very much discussed into the colleges, not very much discussed into this universities, not taught into this curriculum and everything. So this is why we have to do this particular chat and tell the audience about how they can, because if the blockchain is future, why
Mm-hmm.
India is not looking towards it in a professional way, in a curriculum way. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this is what we have to develop. And many people are still confused about crypto also. Like, what
Yes.
is crypto?
Yes.
That's volatile or what? What actually, how is blockchain, crypto, financial transactions, or is blockchain only limited to crypto only?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all the queries that people have. So basically,
Sure.
we are going to decide and all those things. Okay.
Happy to
So
answer.
yeah. Okay, Kavita, let me ask you something about yourself. Can you introduce yourself about like what exactly you do and all?
Okay, I'm an engineer myself, so it is a great platform to be on. I'm very honored. I'm an electrical engineer from Washington University in St. Louis. And I've done many other academic courses as well. I've studied a bit of architecture. I know I'm computer science, and I've dabbled in business administration courses and all. But my main focus has always been how do I apply myself in the engineering world. So I started off, with a business in computer networks in New York. Did very well. This was the boom of Y2K, and so all the servers had to be redone or replaced, or we had to do some engineering work there, including the software. And there were a lot of new companies and trying to understand what cloud and computing is, and it was a really good time to be in the engineering world. So I've done all of that, and then I moved towards food industry. Spent some last 12 years in the sports industry as well. Building ultra running in India, which there was only one ultra runner in the beginning in 2009, and now we have an AFI recognized ultra running team for India. So the growth has been tremendous, in the areas that I have, worked in. So, and with that background, and also my inclination to be, continue to be an engineer, I use my skills, my thinking skills, and I put the thinking hat back on, and we looked at Web3, learned a little bit more. And the gap that we saw worldwide is that everybody is building, apps and everything on blockchain. The interoperability is one problem, and all of that. So we thought that we would build something that would enable everybody around the world, including India, bring blockchain into mainstream. Whether it is in education, whether it is in supply chain industry, healthcare, governments, any which way possible, right? So we were building what we call the self-sovereign identity. If you look at blockchain in India, the misconception is that blockchain is, Bitcoin, therefore blockchain.
Yeah.
Basically, if even if when I talk about blockchain today anywhere, or whenever I talk about any of the currencies or anything like that, the thought is, oh, do you own Bitcoin? Is that what you do? Are you building Bitcoin? I'm like, I don't build Bitcoin. Bitcoin can't be built. Bitcoin is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't know, when I talk about blockchain, they're like, what is that? So then I have to start the whole story about, how blockchain was, thought about, to enable transactions, not so much as, as the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin. Right. Bitcoin is the result of the blockchain technology, not the other way around. When we're talking about education institutions taking up, blockchain courses and teaching them as mainstream. There are some colleges in Noida, if anybody has joined us here, is interested in that. There are some colleges in Noida offering blockchain, degrees. Degrees on blockchain, not blockchain degrees on blockchain, teaching blockchain courses, and quite a few of them apparently have been doing well. That misconception in general is carried through to almost all facets of blockchain. They don't understand, and when you talk Web3, they think it's just blockchain. Web3 is not just blockchain. Web3 has different technologies that you can use. Blockchain is one of them. And so if you want to really become somebody, or build something on blockchain, go and read the different technologies that enable similar, solutions. Right. So, and that is when you can actually understand whether blockchain is absolutely the solution for this particular problem or not. Many a times, we look at blockchain as looking for a problem to solve, right? And that is also another misconception. Blockchain is not looking for a problem to solve. Blockchain is very deep, and it has many facets to it. Right. So, and including cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is one of the facets. So, cryptocurrency can be used to, you know, um, so to speak, to solve many problems. Like, let's talk about one of them. Right. It is a simple methodology of converting your fiat currency to cryptocurrency and transferring it to somebody else's wallet, and completing a transaction that would have taken most likely a day or two, especially if it's across the borders, right? You have to add the person, and then you have the inconsistencies, or whatever the delays that happen when you're transferring from one country to another country. In my own country, I can go to an exchange if I have if I have an account on the exchange, use my fiat currency, buy any cryptocurrency, pretty much Ethereum, Bitcoin, or anything like that, and transfer that within seconds to somebody else's wallet across the world. And they go to their exchange, convert that to your fiat currency, and withdraw it. And this all can happen within the hour, right? That is one of the problems that cryptocurrency solves. But many people think that is all that it does. But cryptocurrency is actually ecosystem based too. Every ecosystem that is built around an application has its own currency. So if you want to be in that ecosystem, you need to have that currency. It's like paying with rupees in the Indian market, right? That is the Indian ecosystem, Indian business ecosystem. If I want to buy something in India, I need to use rupees. If I go to the US, I need dollars. If I go to Europe, I need euros, right? Just the same way, if somebody has an ecosystem around a product in the blockchain world, let's say we'll take the same simple example of our own product, so no, Soulverse. You need Soulcoin to transact within the Soulverse ecosystem.
Yeah.
That is the actual utilization of cryptocurrencies. So trading, buying and selling, and the way the market goes up and down is not cryptocurrency. That is the trading part of cryptocurrency. That is not the actual asset, or the actual the positive thing that is about cryptocurrency in the Web3 world. If that answers the question of what is
Yeah.
the future of
So,
cryptocurrency, it is tremendous.
Kavitha, if I can summarize this in a stock market kind of way. So in
Mhm.
a stock market, there's the fundamentals of a stock and there's the technical of a stock. technical
Yes.
moves on, and it basically traders use the technical indicators on a daily basis to trade and everything, which basically crypto exchange also do. And
There
if the
is a slight
fundamentals will
difference.
change the whole.
Yes, there is a slight difference though. If you take the trade market, right? I cannot, let's say I have Citibank shares or something like that. I cannot take Citibank shares and use them to buy something, right?
Yeah.
I can only trade them eventually and get my money when the stock goes up. But in cryptocurrency, I can actually use, like I can use Dogecoin, or I can use something to actually go buy pizza.
Hmm.
So cryptocurrency is the currency in the Web3 world. It's actual currency. It's actually like money, right? So it can be
but
traded and it can also be
but
used
see,
to purchase something.
Kavita, what happens is ki, when you talk about the US dollars, like whatever, whether I will purchase any particular cryptocurrency, so that also I will purchase from rupees or either from dollars or something like
Hmm.
that, some
Hmm.
particular currency.
Yes.
So, how you can say that in the upcoming 5 years, cryptocurrency will either diminish the whole this currency market or paper currencies, what we say basically, and everything can be converted into crypto, and all the things will be done via crypto. So, how that transformation do you think will happen?
Okay. In the sense of cryptocurrencies, the governments themselves have taken heat of the entire market, so to speak, and they're developing their own fiat pegged, pretty much, or not pegged, digital currencies. Like India is trying to develop digital
Yeah.
rupee. China is developing their own currency, and US is looking into. US has taken the role of actually watching and waiting and seeing where the world is going in terms of the cryptocurrencies. The policies are being thought about, but not thought through yet. Whether it's going to have a digital currency, whether, like the RBI, whether the US, the Federal Reserve is going to come up with its own currency or not. They have not taken any stand on that. India said, yes, we are coming up with it. Have they thought through the policies? I am not sure, because when they came up with policies for cryptocurrency trading,
Hmm.
it is, if you ask my opinion, it's half thought through, because you
Yeah,
cannot
definitely.
tax Indians trading from India, trading on other exchanges. It does not work. So they haven't thought through the policies, though they have announced the Indian digital currency, right? But that is a good thing. Now that they have thought that this is not something that they can stay out of. The policies, the future of everything of the cryptocurrency looks good, right? So that is what I would take away from all of these things. It looks good. So if cryptocurrency is used in the right way, just like I mentioned, in the traditional sense of Citibank shares, I cannot go buy pizza. But if I have cryptocurrency of any kind, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, whatever it is, right? Most of the traders are now, there are ATMs where you can actually, put that currency in your wallet, and you can do all of that. And I can go to the next barber and pay you using Soul Coin tomorrow, right?
Hmm.
If they accept it, right? But I cannot do with the traditional, the traditional shares and do all of that. So
Exactly. Exactly.
that is absolutely. So cryptocurrency, as it says, it's actually currency, which
Hmm.
is going to be used in the ecosystems of the products, and also in the traditional sense of transferring money to countries across the world, to people across the world.
Okay, Kavita, we will come back to cryptocurrency. Let's talk about blockchain a bit more. Like, what
Okay.
else blockchain developers? Suppose people learn this blockchain development and the algorithm behind it, and they
Hmm.
build the smart contracts and everything. So,
Hmm.
what will they achieve? Like, what will be the future businesses that will accept the blockchain, other than finance things, other than cryptocurrency and all, the
Hmm.
financial market, if we put that aside,
Hmm.
what are the other sectors that we can touch from blockchain thing?
If you look at every business that is using Web2, almost can transfer their platforms to Web3, right?
Mhm.
Especially if you look at any let's say supply chain. Supply chain goes
Yeah.
across the industries, right? And then healthcare also pretty much goes across across the globe. And if you look at education can benefit from it. If you look at the general trading systems, they can benefit from it because access to information will be, will be equal and will be across, will be non-biased across the world, because once you put information on blockchain, it is visible to everybody in the world, whether it's climate, whether it's weather, whether it's anything, whether it's data, any of that. But you have to understand that when you talk about blockchain, if you want to only talk about smart contracts, it is not just that, right? Blockchain has so many different parts to it. So the basics of blockchain is that there is a problem to be solved, right? If you want to be a blockchain miner, right? There is a problem to be solved. So you have to have the hardware, the servers, and all of that. And you solve the problem, then you get the ability to add a transaction to the block and then build the blocks, and then you get paid for it. That is one part of the blockchain. But there is hardware that the blockchain requires. There's a hardware side to it, right? And there is technology side to it, to building it. Let's say you want to build a new blockchain. There's a technology side to it. And how is the first block built? What technology do you use? Which is called the Genesis block, right? And there is going to be the actual use of the blockchain that you're going to be working on, which is then comes to in the smart contracts, the apps, which is called the DApps and the decentralized apps and all of that, and then building products on it. So there are many sides to the blockchain, to a blockchain or the blockchain technology. So where you want to be, the first step to take for anyone who wants to be in a blockchain industry or blockchain developer or anything like that is to understand the various aspects of blockchain, right? And then understand what they are good at. Are they a linear thinker? Are they a problem solver? Are they a design thinker? Are they strategic thinker? Which one are they? So for each of these types of people, there are different layers of blockchain that they can actually be part of and go out there and make an impact, right? And so they can actually be, building Gmail or, an Apple iPhone or of the Web3 world if they actually understand all these different aspects of a blockchain. If you enter it just thinking, I'm going to, write smart contracts and become a blockchain expert, that's what you're going to be writing for the rest of your life. It is very simple. Smart contract is the simplest aspect of the blockchain because, you're almost given what you need to write. You're simply using a code to write it. So you need to be a thinker, a strategic person, to actually understand, what kind of smart contract you want to write, what kind of language you're going to use, and how effective it's going to be, and go beyond, that a regular smart contract to a dynamic smart contract. There are so many different layers to this that one can think of. So I would recommend anybody who's thinking of a blockchain. The future of the blockchain is in actually understanding the layers and then going after what you're really good at.
Okay, I will put an analogy here, like 4G and 5G. Okay, when we increase a generation, our from 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, it was actually solving some particular problems. And it was like latency is very high. Like recently, we discovered about the 5G and 4G differences. So when we send the messages across WhatsApp, it might take some server time, some response time, and that 5G will reduce. That's latency actually. If we take the same analogy to Web 2.2 and Web 3.2, like every sector is using Web 2.0. Even if you say banking sector, if you say like supply chain or basically delivery sector, it's Ship Rocket is there, a good startup in India. Delivery, like there are various startups that are working on very much high put models. Maybe AI and machine learning they are applying to Web 2.2, and suddenly what Web 3.0 can solve from them. Like why is there a need? If there is a need to put your phone from 4G SIM to 5G SIM, okay, so you are getting something new. So if I talk from the business point of view or some startup point of view, why should a particular startup or why should a particular company should be switching from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0? What will actually solve from it? Other than transparency. Transparency is the first thing that I love about Web 3.
Yes, everybody talks about transparency because it, all the data is in blockchain. But what it solves mainly is security of data, which is, hacking is one of the hugest problems. And everybody's data who's hacked, it takes about an average of 2 years to get your life back. And the financial losses, whether it's for the financial institutions or to the person, because financial institutions generally end up refunding all of the money that is stolen because let's say I call Citibank and says, hey, my credit card has been charged $12,000 overnight. And they have not caught it before. Usually there are systems in place that, when they see charges over and above, their algorithms and their AI and all of that reads all of these transactions, right? But if they have not caught that, and then you call them and says, it was not my charges, they refund you all of that money. It's now over $200 billion are lost,
Yes.
over the years, and because of these things, security. So you can talk about security of transactions and security of data that that blockchain brings, right? And trust, the trust that now blockchain brings to a transaction. Let's say I say that I have an engineering from Washington University. I just told you that. So how do you believe me? Because I put it on my LinkedIn.
Yes.
So you believe me.
That's the thing. Basically, what we have here.
Right. So because I
Believe
put
it,
it on
yes.
LinkedIn, you believe me that I have a degree. So I can probably put a certificate too saying I have a degree from Washington University. But how do you believe me and how do you trust that? Tomorrow you can
Okay.
trust it because it'll be on my identity wallet as a verified credential signed by the Washington University's public key. So you can actually
Okay.
trust it. Instead of just seeing it, and I will post it on LinkedIn too, and saying that I have a degree and here is my public key. You can go check it.
Yeah,
Right?
this problem I can
Trust.
understand because there are various online courses provided, like edX is there, like Coursera is there, and they were putting the certificates. Whenever you complete a course, you get a certificate from them, and you can put that certificate on LinkedIn. But that can be morphed also. We can morph that particular certificate and put it again on LinkedIn and say, yes, we have done the course. There's no particular linking between the thing. And
Yes.
yes, this particular issue, this is again a transparency issue, and it can be very much clear. And right now, what happens is whenever we hire anyone, so we do the background check. In background verification,
Right.
it takes time. We
Yes.
mail
And
to the
money.
university and then
And
yes, earn
extensive
money.
money.
Exactly. Yeah. And that takes a lot of time. So yes, if all thing will be on the same server or something like same particular blockchain, it will kind of make it. So how is it decentralized? Like, why is it not called centralized? I think if everything is out on the blockchain, it can be called centralized. How is it decentralized? Can we get
Okay,
that?
it is decentralized because it is not on the same server. Let's say there is, let's talk about centralization, right? So it is on a server. It is on one server or it is on two servers. Today now they have backups of servers, right? It's on cloud computing. So some part of the data is on one server, some part of the data is on a different server, but they're all linked servers, right? And all of them have a backup. And so and it is managed by centrally by some by one particular person or sitting behind another machine, and all of this is linked. And if I have the access to one server, I could have access to the rest of the servers as well. And that is how hacking happens, right? So in
Yes.
decentralization, when you're talking about centralization, because it's on blockchain, the data is on hundreds and thousands of servers, like your computer, my computer, all of the computers have the same information. So it is the same replica of the entire blockchain. So if your computer has data of the entire blockchain, my computer has the same information on my blockchain of the blockchain. And if I have to hack it, I have to hack 51%, let's say, of 10,000 servers, 10,000 nodes, or as they're called, right? Let's say I will have to hack 51% of those nodes to change the data and all of these servers at the same time.
Yes.
Imagine the quantum power that is required to do that. So
Exactly.
that is
It's
why
very
we
hard.
call it decentralized, right? So the whole blockchain system runs on consensus mechanism. So as long as 51% of the computers, of the nodes that have this data, of the replica of this data, agree on something, then it can be put on the blockchain. But how do you do that? That is why it is that the number of nodes that bring in the power of is what that bring in the power of decentralization. That there is no one person or one machine or one backup that can actually change the data. And there is no changing the data, by the way, on blockchain, unless
In
you
India,
actually end up doing this.
in
And the
India,
next
Kavita.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Go
ahead.
on, go on. Yeah, yeah.
No, what I'm saying is, once you create a hash, right, it cannot be converted back. And that's how we do it. And that's how the next block is created. So when you change the data in these 51 blocks, and it is not going to be recognized by the next block, pretty much, because the data has changed. It doesn't recognize the hash anymore, right? So the entire blockchain is going to be broken.
Okay,
So
I was talking about like in India, the financial
Mhm.
education is very less. Like people are still very much, most of the people, more than 50% are still reliable on mutual funds or FDs. Like, and
Mhm.
since this blockchain, the first application of blockchain will be mostly on the financial things. Other than
Right.
that, they will adapt slowly and slowly on into various other sectors. But the financial
Mhm.
thing will be hit the first thing, and it has started already. You know, there are
Mhm.
like coins which Kuber is there, Wajir is there. There are various exchanges they have built. Even there are various NFT marketplaces are there in India, and then
Mhm.
everything is happening with this thing. So, what do you think? Like, how you see the India situation right now, and how can you project like what will be after 5 years, how it will look from the perspective of developing into that and getting into the blockchain thing? What is your idea of 5 years?
Uh, in the general blockchain community, or in the
Yeah,
financial
like
community?
adaptation of blockchain and like eliteness of people accepting it. So
Mhm.
how that will happen basically?
Okay. I know, in the sense of understanding what blockchain can do for the world, as you rightly put, financial system is where, because that is because cryptocurrency brought that into limelight, pretty much, and that is the sector that is actually looking at, because the losses and the gains of what blockchain can do. Let's say, instead of the younger generation, instead of investing most likely in mutual funds, are bringing the money to cryptocurrencies. So
Exactly.
the effect
Yes.
has been seen mainly in the beginning in the financial world. So they're also looking at curtailing that to a certain extent and taking part in that. And the banks are also now offering cryptocurrency, kind of mutual funds, or trading exchanges and things like that, so that they can actually invest through the traditional financial markets to invest in cryptocurrencies, than just directly go to WazirX, or take back some of that market that they're losing from the younger generation. But if you look at the blockchain as a whole and adoption, the governments are there is a lot of I would say lack of understanding of what the governments are doing as well. So
Mhm.
when we have been to some of these conferences, let's say, the Web3 conferences in Hyderabad and Bangalore and all of these places, we saw a lot of government officials show up and actually sit very religiously in all
Mhm.
of these speeches and making notes and understanding. And one of the reporter came up to us and told us that, so these are all government people being sent by the local governments, and trying to understand what's happening in the blockchain market, what are the new technologies, how they can be adopted, how they can be supported, how they can create a hub for blockchain technology development within their own cities and states and all of that. So I believe that the adoption is going to be quicker, but the
Mhm.
market is primed to actually see the right products being developed.
Exactly.
That is where the lack is, the gap is. The right products need to be brought to the front, and the investors need to look at what products actually make sense to the market right now. If you're talking
Mhm.
about putting billions into metaverse is way far ahead. For
Mhm.
people to adopt metaverse and actually see the ground being laid for a Web3, um, you know, um, world, metaverse is way far ahead to be adopted. There are products that are need to be developed to lay the foundation for the Web3 world, to bring to the table the identity that we are developing right now. To be anywhere
True.
in the financial world, or in education system, or in the government world, you require, or even metaverse, so to speak. And even let me put it out there that Elon Musk, himself is looking for how to check the identity of the people who are on his
Exactly.
platform. And when he goes to
Mhm.
Web3, what is he going to do? There's going to be a requirement for solutions in identity world, in the
Mhm.
when you take the Web3. There's going to be requirement to understand how the education system can move towards Web3, because that is where you actually catch the next generation of Web3 adopters, right? From the time they enter the education system, if they have an identity in the Web3 world, they attach all the credentials to Web3, and they start opening up bank accounts, and they actually take their identity in the blockchain to the financial systems. All their bank accounts are attached to it. That's how it grows. So you start laying the foundation for it. The bigger dreams and the bigger solutions will have to, they're great to look at. They're great to for the investors to look at, saying we're going to make billions eventually. But that would, I would say that the Indian investors, or the investors abroad need to look at bringing the smaller solutions to the table first, and the governments look at how about the birth certificates being issued. Let's put the birth certificates on blockchain, right?
Yes,
And
exactly.
attach an identity to it, attach a decentralized identity to it. So you begin at the foundations of of the systems, of the government systems, or the private systems, of the financial systems, of all of these systems. You look at all of the systems and build the smaller products first. That is
Definitely.
where
That's how we will grow. Yeah.
that is how the adoption is going to happen.
Okay, great. Okay, Kavitha, it was a very nice talk that we had on the blockchain and the cryptocurrency, and we are very much honored to have you, because you have a 25 years of experience in the IT industry, and your input into this particular thing matters a lot. And whenever any student is opting for the blockchain, they basically look forward like, whom should I listen to, and who is going to guide me. And there are various startups coming on from into the blockchain, and they are looking for some considerations like, who is the expert of the, because developing a technology and making it a business, that's a whole different thing, and the startups have to do into that particular sector. So yes, it was an honor to have you on the board, and definitely we will be catching up, and we will be having various talks in the future, definitely on various other topics. And yeah, so in one line, if I can ask you in one liner advice to the students basically who are into any sector, maybe mechanical engineering, computer science engineering, so what they should what they should do to get into the blockchain, what is there the mantra that you can say, one line mantra, what you can go for that?
Okay, if I have to put it in one line, what I would say is, you should happen to Web3, not the other way around, right? What I mean is, like, before Gmail was ever there, Hotmail existed, right? Nobody knew Gmail, right? If you start now, I believe that, the students can actually build the Gmails, iPhones, Facebooks, and all of these of the Web3, right? So go out there, learn, and you should happen to Web3, not the other way around.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you, Kavitha. Thank you very much. It was an honor to have you. Okay.
My honor. Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kavitha. Thank you.
Thank you.